Tinkerlands. The new Terraria? No, it is definitely not the new Terraria, but it might be Necess's little stepbrother. I've played a good amount of Tinkerlands through the demo and the full game when it released this week. Just a quick little rundown of the game. It's a procedurally generated 2D top-down survival sandbox game. It says it's made by a team of 4 led by a dev named Code Manu. It's $13 or $10 on sale right now. But what's the game actually like? I'm confident the most accurate way I can describe it is that it's almost a copy-paste of Necess, but not quite as good. Of course, I'll break it down further, but that is the gist of things. The game revolves around gathering, fighting, exploring, and crafting. And there are so many sandbox survival games that do just decent that I think you have to really do something unique or special, or do the main things exceptionally well to really stand out. The gathering is just baseline standard. It got pretty tedious after a couple hours for me, and this would probably be helped if you had played with a group of friends, and the game supports up to 4 people online right now. One of the biggest complaints I have with gathering right now is the tools. When you go from stone tools all the way up to iron tools, you can now gather better resources. Pretty standard, but typically, at least the right way in my eyes, you also gather the old resources faster. If I cut down a tree with a stone axe in 7 hits, I should absolutely be able to cut it down in 4 or 5 hits with an iron axe. Just some kind of improvement to the menial work of gathering so it actually feels like I'm progressing along with the quality of tools. Not just getting over a roadblock to be able to collect different resources. The only logical reason I see for making this design decision is to pad out the runtime. It doesn't make total sense because the game is in early access and there's actually quite a solid amount of content in the game as it is, so there's no good reason for the devs to do this. The combat consists of running away from the enemy while you spam the attack button. You can get a dash ability, but you don't start out with it, and once you do get it, there are no iframes, so you just dodge further and further away from the enemy. There's 3 categories for combat, which are melee, ranged, and magic. Unfortunately, no matter what you pick, you're going to end up running away from the enemy while you spam the attack button. A good example of a way to help the combat feel more dynamic is by adding something like a parry. And this game actually has a parry dagger, which lets you parry enemy attacks. It doesn't do a ton on its own, but you can upgrade it and make it freeze enemies when you parry them, and it can actually be kind of useful. This was a great design choice, and the game just needs more things like this to make the combat feel dynamic enough to not be boring after 1 or 2 sessions of playing. Something that they seemed to do well at first was enemy variety. There was a handful of different mob types in the first biome, and the best part about this was the mobs actually did different attacks. The slime enemies would jump around, the goblins would either shoot an arrow at you or try to hit you with a spear, and their variety of attacks definitely made the combat more fun. Then you go onto another biome and there is a whole new set of enemies. There's the typical slime, but now it has added ice attacks. There are yetis that now throw giant snowballs at you. There are wolves that pounce at you, and it came together for a nice variety. The only downside is that you're going to be spending a lot of time in these biomes, and the enemies are going to feel stale after a while. There's not much you can do about that in general, so I don't fault the game for this. The only way I know of to alleviate it is to make the combat extra fun, which right now it is not. You spend a large portion of the game exploring, so obviously it needs to be designed well. Some things I think they did do well are the variety of resources in a biome, the visual design of the enemies, and the random buildings with chests in them. The variety of resources, though, are a double-edged sword. And the downside is that it feels like they made a ton of different resources that each are used to craft one recipe, instead of making it more concise and having items besides wood and metal be used for multiple recipes. If I had to guess, this choice was probably to pad out the runtime some more. I think rewarding exploration is a necessity in games, especially where you'll be exploring a lot. And at first, it seemed like they did it well, but after a while, you just walk right in there, you open the chest, you see the same couple of items that you see every time, and then that rewarding feeling definitely starts to fade pretty fast. On a larger scale, you explore the main area, and then you explore down in the caves, and then you can sail to different islands and do it all over again. Does it sound familiar? Well, it should, because it is pretty much a direct copy and paste from Necess. I could definitely be wrong, maybe Necess wasn't the first to do it, but it's the first game that I've seen revolve around this idea, and it's not very innovative for this game to use the same system. I would understand more if they were made by the same developers, but they're not. They're not even from the same publishers. I don't want to be too harsh. I know Necess started off a certain way in early access and has come a super long way since then, and is now an awesome game that has a ton of loyal fans that love the game and play it to this day. I hope Tinkerlands ends up with a similar story and comes a long way, but right now it's not there yet. It's charming, it's pretty chill, and it's probably fun for a while with some friends, but it's also repetitive, reductive, and has some major flaws with its core design. I hope it's clear that I know this is an early access, which means the game is still in active development, but my complaints aren't on the things it's missing. My complaints are on the core system the game is designed around. The game definitely has potential, and it can slowly carve out its own path and find its place in the survival genre. I wish the devs the best, and to anyone that absolutely loves the game, that's awesome. Have fun with it. To anyone saying the game is just like Terraria, you're wrong. Just because a game is 2D survival doesn't mean it's just like Terraria. If you enjoyed Core Keeper, Stardew Valley, or Necess, then you're probably going to have some fun with Tinkerlands. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Hopefully I didn't come off too harsh. If you have any thoughts, let me know about it in the comments. I would love to hear from you. If you want to see more from me, subscribe. I post once every other week on Sunday, so I'll never clog up your feed. I hope you have a good one. Peace out.